So it's now been a few days since this bad boy has come out and dropped the acceptable price of plastic crack. With all of its monopost push fit goodness, it's offered a reasonable price for space bugs and space soldiers. If you're like me, you've probably built your half of the box and sold the other half, or at least let it sit somewhere deep inside of a dark cupboard. And if you're like me, you're probably starting a new army. That army happens to be the spacesuit killing machine fascists. Well, statistically speaking, it's probably highly unlikely as most people already have a space marine army. I wanted to talk to you about how I chose my flavor of space fascist and some of the choices that you might want to consider if you still have to make this decision. Picking a space marine color is a bit like picking a flavor in an ice cream shop. You like vanilla, but do you like vanilla with chocolate chip, or do you like vanilla with a hint of blood? But the first question really is, who cares? I mean, most of this army is probably going to end up sitting on a cupboard, collecting dust and looking pretty for no one to see, except for me. In some ways, that's kind of enough, right? Maybe it'll see a battle once or twice a year, but that's kind of what it's about, isn't it? I could just really paint some random color and be happy with it. I like doing that. I've done that before. However, for some reason, I felt like because there's already about 1001, oh wait, no, 100 different chapters or so, I could probably pick one to suit me. How hard can it be, right? There's chapters known for being brutal, and there's ones known for being crazy, uh, and others known for being brutal. Um, but yeah, I'm sure there is one. The idea of a chapter that's grounded in the 40k universe, it kind of already exists. You get a little bit of text in the book, or perhaps a whole book dedicated to it. And that to me is pretty cool. You know, you're painting your minis and you can imagine the battles that this miniature might go on, story of its chapter and how it came to be. This is a way of you expanding on the 40k lore. I had to take this very seriously, and very serious things require lists. One of these chapters is some crazy combination of several colors, and it's the first thing you're going to see when they're on the battlefield. And now, I've painted a few armies, but I kind of wanted this one to be a little bit different. Time I saw yellow space marines, I thought that was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Like, completely not grimdark, just some boys in yellow suits. What? Probably before I knew about the orcs and thought that this is like a historical game. It's not. I've been painting for about a year and I've tried acrylic paints, I've tried an airbrush, but I really wanted to try out oils next and I thought this might be a good opportunity to do that. I wanted this army to stand out on the battlefield. I painted a lot of grim dark things which I basically washed in Akrax Earthshade and called it a day. And unfortunately that is the opposite of standing out. I knew that painting yellow and white was challenging, at least that's what I've heard, and I thought that's something I wanted to try. I'd also painted a lot of armies in the black and red. That's my Oryx and Age of Sigmar and my Sisters of Battle. When 10th edition was being announced, they kept on repeating the words simplified but not simple. Or was it a hashtag? I wanted this color scheme to be exactly that. I wanted it to be simple. Wait, no. Simple. Simplified, but still challenging. Kind of technical detail that would challenge me on every miniature, but keep it interesting, and also not consume my entire weekend. Lore and playstyle into the same category because to me, the way the army is off the battlefield should be reflected on the battlefield. And it really matters if you're willing to immerse yourself. I like to pick a quirk and go all out with it. The battle are pretty much just archos that had succumbed to Khorne and now were being repented, if that's the right word. They were repenting. I was just gonna bring as many juggernauts and terminators as I could. There's more written about every single chapter of Space Marines than there is about Jesus. So I went onto YouTube, put on 1.5 speed, and absorbed. Here's what I instantly knew. I have an army of werewolves and vampires, so no more blood drinking for me. Instead, I'm here for the big guns, the even bigger suits, and the even bigger guns. Now, say what you want about these guys, but that's a pretty big rocket. I didn't learn to ride a bike until I was a little bit too old, so the whole bike army does not appeal to me. No problem with stealth, and I do like long range weapons. I mean, that's pretty cool. I went through every single chapter to see which one fits my color criteria, and then went through it again to pick the coolest ones, and I was left with four choices. The Jade Talons, with their pretty cool turquoise, emerald, jade emblem. We're chasing the Infinity Worm and don't care much for the Imperium. I know what an Infinity Worm is, um, but that sounds pretty cool. Bringers of Justice, or is it Judgement? The Bringers of Judgement. Now, they will exterminate your entire planet so much as one person says one word of heresy. Necropolis Hawks. Pretty cool name, pretty cool color scheme. But they were a successor chapter of some bird emos. And the chapter decided they didn't need a name because it was that upset about something that happened. Something to do with the Fallen. I don't know. So after all that, I decided that I was gonna go with the Bringers of Justice. No, wait, no, Judgement. Yeah. Uh, the white armor would give me an opportunity to just quickly paint the whole thing white. And then obviously with the arms, I could go in with some brass and test out some oil paints, all while keeping my sanity. What better way to purge a planet than with a load of terminators?